Welcome to this explainer. Okay, we're diving straight into a challenge that literally every writer faces at some point. Today, we're going to learn how to transform ourselves from mere data dumpers into highly strategic visual communicators. You know that exact feeling, right? You're reading a document, cruising along, and suddenly, bam! You hit a massive wall of numbers or some incredibly confusing diagram that just completely stalls your momentum. Well, we're going to fix that. We're going to master exactly when and how to use graphics effectively so that we actually guide our readers rather than just totally overwhelming them. Here's our roadmap for today. We'll cover 1. The power of visuals. 2. Taming the data monster. 3. Charts and graphs. 4. Drawings, diagrams, and photos. And finally, 5. Golden rules for graphics. Let's get right to it. Section 1. The power of visuals. So let me ask you a serious question. Wouldn't you want a simple, scientifically backed way to make the documents you write significantly more effective and memorable for your audience? I mean, it sounds kind of like a trick question, but it's really not. The secret literally lies entirely in how we use visuals. The math behind human comprehension here is actually pretty wild. Back in 1982, research by Levy and Lentz proved that people actually learn a staggering 1/3 more from a document when graphics are thoughtfully included. And it's not just about learning more either. They retain that information faster and are way better equipped to apply it. The visual isn't just some pretty decoration. It is a critical cognitive tool that's doing some serious heavy lifting for your text. Moving on to Section 2, Taming the Data Monster. All right, the absolute biggest mistake writers make is building what I like to call the data monster. We've all seen this before. It looks like a spreadsheet simply exploded onto the page. It's this terrifying wall of 11 columns and 30 rows that completely fails to guide the reader anywhere. Remember, a table's job is to permit rapid access to and comparison of information. When you just drop a massive, unedited data dump into a document, you aren't really communicating. You're just distorting your meaning and totally exhausting your audience. Instead of all that chaos, you really want to use a highly curated, clean table. Take baseball sabermetrics data from 1982 to 2019 as an example. When formatted well, it clearly tracks how analytical strategies shifted home run and strikeout rates over roughly 10-year intervals. Think about it. 1982 marked the introduction of sabermetrics, that analytical approach to player strategy. By 2010, the percentages clearly began to change dramatically. A good table trims the fat. It focuses only on the specific data that actually supports the story of evolving baseball philosophies. To actually get that level of clarity, you need a little secret called accountant alignment. This is basically this secret sauce for readable tables. First, trim your data down to what actually supports your point. Then, take your units, like millimeters, percentages, or dollar signs, and put them strictly up in the column headers. Don't repeat them in every single cell. Next, right align or decimal align your numbers so they stack up neatly, just like an accountant would do it. Text columns, on the flip side, should generally be left-aligned. And finally, if you've got a complex exception or a weird special case, please don't cram it into the table cell. Just move it down into a footnote to keep everything visually clean. Section 3, Charts and Graphs. Okay, so you really have to choose your visual tool wisely, and it's all based on what your audience actually needs to understand. Tables, they are perfect when you have multifaceted details or you need to compare really precise figures and models. Say if you're comparing the physical dimensions and exact costs of different laser printers. But let's be honest, tables are not particularly vivid. Charts and graphs, however, sacrifice a bit of that exact, down-to-the-decimal precision to deliver a highly dramatic, big picture view of a trend. For instance, think about environmental data, specifically Wythgott's 2018 data regarding sea level changes. If you just bury those numbers in a dense paragraph, the reader might completely miss the severity of the situation. But a bar chart instantly dramatizes the historical 20-centimeter sea level rise of the 20th century, and it juxtaposes it violently against the alarming future predictions of up to 98 centimeters in the 21st century. The visual impact is immediate. It creates a powerful narrative that a standard table simply cannot match in terms of pure visceral impact. Section 4, Drawings, Diagrams, and Photos. When dealing with imagery, it is all about the scale of abstraction your document requires. You always have to choose your image based on this scale. If you're writing instructions on, let's say, how to graft a fruit tree, you want minimal detail. A simple line drawing is absolutely perfect there, because it strips away all the distracting background noise so your reader focuses entirely on the key tools and hand placements. Diagrams, on the other hand, offer an abstract, schematic view. perfect for showing exactly how a complex audio system is wired. But if you're writing a recommendation or feasibility report, like telling your company which incredibly expensive photocopier they should buy, you want highly detailed photographs so they can see exactly what they're paying for. But what if the thing you're describing isn't physical at all? When you're presenting non-physical ideas, processes, or structures, you need what's called a concept graphic. Think of an organizational chart showing a company's hierarchy. A brilliant, real-world example of this is how Apple used infographics to visually compare the speed and data handling of 32-bit versus 64-bit processors. You obviously can't see data handling with your naked eye, but a well-crafted concept graphic makes that abstract technological leap instantly understandable to the average consumer. Finally, Section 5, Golden Rules for Graphics. All right, before you hit publish or submit on anything, keep this golden rule of thumb in mind. Just because a picture or a chart is super easy to find on the internet does not mean you actually have the right to use it. You must properly source all borrowed graphics. Utilize platforms like Creative Commons to find appropriately licensed imagery, and absolutely always cite your sources. Usually you just drop that right there in the figure title or a footnote. Gotta give credit to the brave and noble soul who did the hard work of creating that data or image in the first place. Now let's talk mechanics. The single most crucial rule for integrating visuals is this mandatory chronological flow. Never, ever just throw a graphic onto a page completely unexplained. You must first introduce it in the text, prepare your reader. Then place the graphic neatly as close to that text as humanly possible. And finally, you have to cross-reference it. Don't just lazily write, "see figure 2." Actually explain to your reader why it matters and what key trends they should be looking at. You're their guide. Lead them through it. And, we absolutely can't forget the formatting polish. Your presentation has to look professional, right? Keep all your graphics neatly inside the standard document margins. Definitely don't let them spill over the edges. Give them some breathing room with at least one blank line above and below. And here's a very strict rule you should just commit to memory right now. Table titles always go above the table, while chart, graph, and figure titles belong below the graphic. Lastly, make sure your reader actually has the tools to decode your visual by always including the necessary access labels and keys. So as we wrap up this explainer, I've got a challenge for you. Go pull up the very last document or report you wrote. Look closely at the visuals you included. Ask yourself honestly, are your graphics actually telling a clear, cohesive story that expertly guides your reader right toward your conclusion? Or are you still letting the data monster run wild on the page? It is officially time to take control of your visual communication.